Go live. We are live, I believe. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. Just double checking if we're live. Yes, we are. The show's about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for important and interesting events and happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you don't know you have. The sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History, what happened today in history, historical calendar, and this website we will be using on thisday.com. There we go. Anyway, for links to these sources and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar in the description below. Any links gathered throughout the show will, of course, appear after the live stream. It could be 10 minutes after, it could be an hour, depending on how fast I get to it, but it will happen. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and you, of course, are you, excellent viewer. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Today is, what is today? Woden's Day? Already? Yeah, Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. So let's jump into the history today, shall we? Starting us off in the year 526, we have a possible date for the Antioch earthquake in present-day Syria, which was then the Byzantine Empire. It killed 200,000 people. Good lord. That is a lot of people to be killed. And my hair always looks like I'm a weirdo. I don't know, clown head. Anyway, moving on up quite substantially here to 1349, Jews of Augsburg, Germany were massacred. Yikes. Wouldn't be the last time that would happen, but, man. This is why history is important, you know. If we learn from history, we stop doing things we shouldn't have ever done. So, yeah. Anyway, 1596, King Philip II devalued the Spanish currency. That is not very intelligent, question mark. Good old, you know, felt thimble head. Like, his hat looks like a thimble, you know? Like, you know, the little things you put on your thumb when you're sewing. Or how Peter Pan calls them, kisses. 1745, Bonnie Prince Charlie's Jacobite army moved into Manchester and occupied Carlisle. Yeah, and you know, he was as they call him, a pretender to the English throne. He said he had some valid reasons to claim the throne. Years, you know, of talking about this guy, and I still really don't know much more than I did at the very beginning. I've never really looked into all of this Bonnie Prince Charlie and his Jacobites and everything. Anyway, 1775, Sir James J. invented invisible ink. Well, all right. Now, I think that was to spread messages to Washington for you know, spy reports and correspondence and whatnot. I believe so. Let me just double check. Why was invisible ink invented? During the American Revolution, invisible ink was an important method of communication for spies on both sides. The British used two different types of invisible ink. The first was made visible when exposed to heat, and the second was made visible when exposed to an acid. Okay, so that's really interesting. I'm going to add this link. You know, right off the bat, we already now have a link for the underbar, the description. Actually, you know what? Let me title these actually really quick. Invisible ink. Makes it easier for me rather than doing all that after the show. Anyway, moving on up to 1781. Well, we have the crew of the slave ship Zong murdered about 142 African slaves by dumping them into the sea to claim insurance. Yikes! Oh my god! That is, oh my jeez, man. Like, wow. Could you imagine back in the day, like you think blacks have it bad in today's world? Can you imagine something like this happening? Good lord, good lord. Whew. Yikes! That's 1803. Dessalines and Christophe declare Saint Domingue, and now known as Haiti, independent. All right, independent Haiti. I'm all for independence. You know me. 1812. Napoleon Bonaparte Grand Armée crossed the Berezina River in retreat from Russia. Oh, and if anybody has seen the Napoleon movie recently released starring Joaquin Phoenix, I thankfully have not. I really wanted to watch it over the Thanksgiving weekend, but I've heard a similar story between all reviewers is that it cuts really quick, and it does massive time jumps, and it's not good. And as a historian, that would greatly bother me, so I just can't go and see it, which is a very big shame. Especially, it says, like, whatever, Stanley Kubrick? No, not Stanley Kubrick. Why do I keep talking about it? Was it Stanley Kubrick? Hold on a second. Who directed Napoleon? Napoleon 2023. Ridley Scott. Okay, I'm an idiot. Ridley Scott, yeah, great director, has a lot of excellent, films in his repertoire. Yes, same with Joaquin Phoenix, and it's a shame that it ended up it did less than a Disney film. Like, it did less than the Marvels or whatever it was. I've seen a meme about it. Anyway, that's a real shame. But yeah, this is when he crossed that river, heading back. 1825, Gioacchino Rossini's comic opera Il Barbiere di Siviglia, known also as The Barber of Seville, became the first opera performed in Italian in the U.S., staged at New York City's Park Theater. All right, The Barber of Seville, one of the most known stage plays, at least to my knowledge. Of course, there's Fiddler on the Roof, there's Cats, there's Hair, there's Mamma Mia, The Producers. Some of those I've seen. Well, very few of those I've seen. I've seen The Producers, and that's it. I think I've only seen like 3 or 4 plays in my life. I need to go get more cultured. Anyway, 1845, the Sonderbund was defeated by the joint forces of other Swiss cantons and under General Guillaume Henry Duffer. Sonderbund. That's an interesting name, Sonderbund. Huh. That rolls off the tongue quite well. 1847, Cayuse Indians kill missionaries Marcus and Narcissa Whitman. Hope she wasn't a narcissist. No, just kidding. And 12 others at Willapatu Mission in Oregon County near present-day Walla Walla, Washington. So, that's unfortunate, but we were encroaching on their land, what else do you expect? 1850, the treaty punctuation of Olmütz, signed in Olomouc, means diplomatic capitulation of Prussia to Austrian Empire, taking over the leadership of German Confederation. Ooh, that's pretty interesting right there. That was 1850. Where did I do this one right here? All right. 1864, Sand Creek, the Sand Creek Massacre. Colorado militia killed about 150 peaceful Cheyenne and Araparo Indians, including Cheyenne Chief One Eye. And that is even worse than the previous article. Actually, this one here. Because, we're going into their land and murdering them in droves. Yikes. Absolutely yikes. Anyway, 1870, compulsory education was proclaimed in England. And I'm all for compulsory education. Not mandated. Never mandate anything. Because as soon as you mandate one thing, what's stopping you from mandating the next? And then mandating this and mandating that. I am not for mandating anything. Let people be free. Let people make their own decisions. As long as they're not doing anything to harm anything else, just let them be. 1877, U.S. inventor Thomas Edison demonstrated his hand crank phonograph for the first time. I wonder who he stole that from. Oh, look at that. A young thief right there. And that guy would, steal your wallet faster than he'd shake your hand. What a scumbag. 1887, U.S. received the rights to Pearl Harbor on Oahu in Hawaii. Let's not forget what happened to Maui, not too long ago. So keep that alive. Keep that flame burning. Pun kind of intended, but not meaning for any disrespect towards those out there. Believe me. So, 1890, the first U.S. Army-U.S. Navy football game. The score was Navy 24 to Army at 0. West Point. Yikes. Well, when you're part of a branch of the armed forces that's just kind of relaxes. Well, actually, no, the Navy actually, has to get into the muck of things. The Air Force, the Chair Force is what I was thinking of, and they wouldn't come around for another 50 years. 1893, Ziqing Institute, today known as Wuhan University, was founded by Zhang Shidong, governor of Hubei and Hunan provinces in late Qing Dynasty in China, after his memorial to the throne was approved by the Qing government. Alright. 1897, the first motorcycle race was held in Surrey, England. Alright. I wonder if that was the very first motorcycle race. Very first motorcycle race. History, okay, that's just that. When was the first motorbike race? Okay. The first mass-produced motorbike, okay, yada yada. 13 years later, legendary Isle of Man IT was held, but this is not the first one. I have this. And this was many years before 1907. 10, in fact, years prior to that. So, that's another discrepancy in history right there. If anybody can actually answer that question fully and coherently, if this or that other one, or if there's another one that was the actual first motorcycle race, anything prior to 1897. But, you know, since motorcycles were invented in 1894, couldn't have been too many years prior. Anyway, 1901, we have the East 182nd Street in the Bronx was paved and open. Alright, so anybody living over there, you know, if you're watching this, yeah, this is when your street was paved and open. At least the first time. 9 years later, 1910, the first U.S. patent for inventing the traffic light system was issued to Ernest Searine. That is very big. And apparently now, thanks to Jewel Chicky, actually, hold on a second, white traffic lights. Let's see if I can find this. Thank you, Jewel Chicky. I'm going to add this into the underbar. With all of these self-driving cars and whatnot, and I'm going to have to re-watch this video here. White traffic lights. I didn't really catch when they talked about the actual reason about the white traffic lights. A 9-minute video and only 30 seconds, I believe, are devoted to the actual reason of the video's existence. You know how these clickbait videos are and all that crap. But, yeah, like, it has something to do with self-driving cars and whatnot, so we're going to be soon seeing these. So once again, thank you to Miss Jewel Chicky. I would scream your actual name, but like I used to back in the day, but, yeah. Anyway, that sounded wrong. Anyway, where were we? In 1913, CFL Grey Cup AAA grounds, Hamilton. Hamilton Tigers defeated the Toronto Parkdale 44-2, second largest margin of victory in a Grey Final Cup. What was the first? Hold on a second. First largest margin of victory in a Grey Final Cup. So we have 44-2, so that is a 42-point discrepancy. The Grey Cup. What is the longest? No, I don't want the winning streak. How many Grey Cups? Rough Riders? Okay, well, it's not letting me know. Largest. Okay, well, if anybody figures out the number, please tell us in the comment section. We got to keep going here. 1915, a fire destroyed most of the buildings on Santa Catalina Island, California. I've been there. And if it wasn't for the exorbitant price of the ferry, I'd like to go there again. I went there once when I was in the not Boy Scouts. Why do I keep mixing things up? I'm having Biden syndrome. YMCA. I went there once on a camping trip with the YMCA, and I almost got mauled by a wild boar. So that was an interesting time. 1916, U.S. declared martial law in Dominican Republic. Okay, that has to be something to do with the First World War going on, or the Great War, the war to end all wars, as they called it back then. Pardon me. 1918, Serbia annexed Montenegro. Huh. I wonder why. It's interesting. But it has to obviously. Well, actually, no. It's already. Well, no. World War I ended in 1919, right? World War I ended. No, 1918. Huh. Okay, so this is something else. That's interesting. 1918, Serbia annexed Montenegro. And subsequently declared under governance of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia on December 20th, 1918. Weeks after this date, the separatist Montenegrin Greeks under Krsto Zrnov-Pavlović started a violent insurrection against pro-Yugoslav Unionists known as the Christmas Uprising in January 7th, 1919. A little late for Christmas, but still, that's rather interesting. So, what should we call it? Serbia annexed Montenegro. Am I spelling that correct? Montenegro? Montenegro. Okay. Alright. Anyway, let's move on up here. What else do we got? Oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh well. 1921, the coldest day in November in the Netherlands, negative 14 degrees Celsius. That is cold. I mean, I'm over here in my robe, 64 degrees, partly sunny, or partly cloudy, depending on how you view the glass. Is the glass half full, or is the glass half empty, or is the liquid in the glass piss? Who knows? 1923, the Dawes Commission, chaired by the American banker Charles G. Dawes, was set up to look into the German economic situation and make recommendations that the U.S. can accept. Germany just getting reamed to foot the bill for the First War. 1929, American U.S. aviator Richard E. Byrd sent, "My calculations indicate that we have reached the vicinity of the South Pole." All right. 1933, the first state liquor stores were authorized in Pennsylvania. Of course, founded by William Penn, the Quaker, whose likeness is believed to be the Quaker oatmeal guy. But yeah. Anyway, this is after Prohibition. Prohibition happened during the Roaring '20s. And then we had the Great Depression, and we needed our alcohol back. So, right? I think. Yeah, Prohibition. Let me look it up. Prohibition started in 1919. When did Prohibition start? Oh, 1920. Okay, once again, I was a year off on the other way now this time. Okay. Anyway. Well, 1933 as well, Japan began persecution of communists. Wow. I never thought I'd agree with 1930s era Japan about anything, but there's always a new day for everything. 1934, the Chicago Bears, defeated Detroit 19-16 in first NFL game broadcast nationally. Okay, go Bears. I'm not a Bears fan. I don't care about sports. I just like saying things like Chicago. 1935, Michael Joseph Savage became the first Labour Party Prime Minister of New Zealand. All right. Breaking free of the mold of the bipartisan system. Go. 1935 as well, physicist Erwin Schrödinger published his famous thought experiment, Schrödinger's Cat, a paradox that illustrated the problem of the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. Is it dead? Is it alive? We don't know until we open it. So, yeah. Well, very certainly, by now, it's dead. So, I mean, it's almost been 100 years. Cats only live for, what, 15? I don't know. 1938, Mayor Ode of Rotterdam forbade soccer match between Netherlands and Germany. It has something to do with political disagreements and whatnot, but the mayor, that's interesting that a mayor of all people would have such political authority to do something of this level. Huh, that's interesting. 365 days later, in 1939, the USSR, the Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, or the Soviet Union, dropped diplomatic relations with Finland. And here we go, the Winter War is coming. So, 1941, passenger ship Lurline sent radio signal of sighting of Japanese war fleet. So we got warned, and we knew, but we wanted them to attack to give us a valid reason to get into the war. Very much like Gulf of Tonkin, very much like the incident that got us into the Spanish-American War, very much like 9/11. The list goes on. Anything they can do to get the people's support, wave the flag, send the troops to die to make the wealthy wealthier. 1942, U.S. Office of Price Administration rationed coffee for everyone, 10 pounds a year. Well, my mom was only a year old, so she wouldn't have cared by then. But you try to pull that, on her, in her later years, and you'd probably have her leading a rebellion. The woman needed her coffee. 1943, U.S. aircraft carrier Hornet was launched, and I believe, wasn't Hornet sunk? Was CV Hornet sunk? During the Battle of Santa Cruz on October 26, Hornet was attacked by Japanese aircraft whilst her carrier aircraft were returning from damaging the Japanese carrier Shokaku. Despite U.S. destroyers trying to scuttle her, she remained afloat until sunk by torpedoes from Japanese submarines the following day. Wow. So she went down fighting. No, it's hard to knock a beautiful ship like that down. Hornet. CV. For those of you who do not know, CV stands for carrier vessel, and I learned that the hard way from my days playing World of Warships. I used to call them ACCs, aircraft carriers. It's CV! It's do we call them carrier vessels or aircraft carriers? Which one is more popularly known? I don't care about the military designation, I'm a civilian! So, But anyway, 1944, Albania was liberated from Nazi control. This is their national day. All right, cool. While that was going on, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore performed the first open heart surgery. Ooh, it's pretty big right there. While that was going on as well, we have the first surgery on a human to correct blue baby syndrome was performed by Alfred Balalock and Vivian Thomas. Now, okay, because I remember my mom was, well, actually my grandmother, by blood, was born upside down, backwards, and blue. So maybe this was like later on when they figured out how to like prevent it from ever happening again. So, but she was a blue baby. 1945, Yugoslavian Socialist Republic was proclaimed. That's kind of concerning right there. 1946, Minister Dries began emergency rule of old age facilities. What the hell does that even mean? Let's look this up here. What is, okay, yada yada, I'm not getting anything. Indian passive movements? Or Indian passive resistance? Okay, well, if anybody can go down this rabbit hole, figure out exactly what this means, because I don't have the time on the show to go down this, like, figure out what that actually means. Tell us in the comment section, that'd be fantastic. Moving on up to 1947, anti-Jewish riots in Aleppo erupted after UN voted to partition Palestine, with cost of 75 lives and the disappearance of medieval manuscript, the Aleppo Codex. How is denying Jews already claimed land anti-Jewish? That's kind of weird, you know? That's just, you know, if you ever, you know, if the roles were reversed in any way, then there would be a problem. Why is there not a problem in this way? Double standards. A little weird. 1947 as well, CFL Grey Cup Varsity Stadium in Toronto. The Toronto Argonauts win third straight 8th title, defeating the Calgary Stampeders 10-9. These Stampeders got stampeded again, dog narbit! Well, why don't I have a hat to throw on the ground and stomp on in frustration? Like Yosemite Sam, all them Stampeders not living up to them Stampeder. Why, I'm not by the Pater. 1947, UN General Assembly vote allow to the partition of Palestine between Arabs and Jews. I don't understand what gives the United Nations authority over pre-existing sovereign nations to do something like this. I mean, like, here's the thing. Hitler did not want the Holocaust. That was Himmler's idea. Like, yeah, he did go through with it, you know, so I'm not defending anything at all. I'm just saying, historically, Hitler wanted to put them on, what was it, Madagascar or something? I don't remember who. Like, he wanted them out of Europe, all right? And by making Israel, by shoehorning and making an entire Jewish state, not in a European nation, but it's led by European nations, in a non-European nation, and a non-Christian nation, no less, a Muslim nation. Like, when you really look at it, like, Hitler got what he wanted with the creation of Israel. He got them out of Europe. You know, well, at least Europe got them out of Europe. And you know, it's just wrong. You know, if Europeans wanted to make Israel, they should have made, you know, they should have done so on European land, not on land that they have no jurisdiction over. So that's whatever. It's just not right to shoehorn people into other people that hate each other. You know, what were they expecting that would happen? Come on. 1948, first opera to be televised, Othello, broadcast from the Met in New York City. 1949, a nationalist regime of China left for Taiwan/Formosa. So this is when they officially like left mainland China, or not even mainland China, but China, and went to Taiwan, a different sovereign nation, and formed their own government over there in exile. While that was going on, uranium mine explosions in East Germany killed 3,700 people. Yikes! And that's double yikes. That's uranium. That's radioactive. I wonder if those mines are closed forever because of the contamination and all that stuff. That's a really weird, you know, really interesting question. Like, if anybody knows, like, these mines that exploded, are they still closed? Like, let me just do a surface level scratch of this. Yeah, about a mining disaster on site at Johanngeorgstadt. were run in U.S. and West German media. The reports allege a death toll in the thousands and mass arrests of German miners and staff by Soviet police. Wismut. Huh. Okay. Well, that's kind of an interesting company logo right there. German uranium mine explosions. Alright. So that's going to be down there. What else do we got here? 1951, we have the first underground atomic explosion at Frenchman Flat in Nevada. I wonder if that was the, see here. First underground nuclear explosion. 1957? Wait. That's not right. We have another discrepancy in history. That's weird. When was the first underground nuclear explosion? But I have it here. It says it's 1951. Unless my source is wrong. But, that's interesting. If anybody knows more about this, please let us know in the comments section. See, first underground nuke. So let me put that in here. We have a 6-year discrepancy here, people. So which one is the real one? That is for further research to figure out. 1952, U.S. the President-elect Eisenhower visited Korea to assess war. Not even in office, and he's already doing his work. Great guy, that Eisenhower. You know, he could have been working with the bad people, but you know what? He was trying to do something. And in his farewell speech, he warned us of the coming military-industrial complex and the dangers of spending, especially deficit spending. We cannot afford 2 wars. So, but, yeah. Anyway, 1953, American Airlines began the first regular commercial New York to LA air service. All right. That's pretty cool. 1956, Chris Brasher became the first Briton to win an Olympic gold medal in track and field since 1936, so 20 years. Claimed the 300-meter steeplechase in 8 minutes, 41.2 seconds at the Melbourne Games. Initially disqualified, but reversed on appeal. Hey. And we're going to be talking about a DQ here again with a hockey goalie here in a little bit. 1957, New York Mayor Robert Wagner formed a committee to replace the Dodgers and Giants. That's interesting. Why? What's going on with that? Let's see. The day in Braves history. What baseball teams New York Giants first do in 1957 that was emblematic of ongoing changes in the United States at the time? What? The National League to switch their respective bases of operation. Oh, so they're flipping them around, I think. I'm not sure. If I'm right in this or if I'm wrong, like here's another way to bring you guys involved with the show. What does this mean? Like, why? What's going on with this? I really wish the Loon was here. He might know a thing or two about it. Anyway, 1961, following the failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion, CIA Director Alan Dulles resigned and was replaced by John McCone. All right. 1961 as well, the Freedom Riders attacked by white mob at bus station in Mississippi. That is not nice. So, once again, do certain people have problems, a little bit worse than certain others? Of course, but look back at what people had to deal with back in the day, and today is so much better. Not perfect, but it was so much worse back then. Let's see here. What else do we got? 1961 as well. Mercury Atlas V carried a chimp, Enos, in orbit. Yeah, that's right. Monkeys in outer space. Something, the human race. I don't know. Look it up. Robot Chicken's skit. We used to send animals into space. Oh, yeah. I believe the first animal in space actually was a female dog named Lakia or whatever from the Ruskies. a communist bitch, essentially. Anyway, 1962, Major League Baseball decided to revert to 1 All-Star game per year after 4 seasons in which 2 All-Star games were played. Okay, and I saw that I skipped this year. Great Britain and France decided to jointly build the Concorde supersonic airliner. It only lasted 30 years, though, roughly. 30, 40 years? I'm not sure. 1963, I Wanna Hold Your Hand. Single released by the Beatles in the United Kingdom. Yep. Shout out to my homie Creek Alley, our resident Beatles nut. Shame that he's not in here to go ballistic about that. You know, give us a thing or two to learn about the Beatles. Anyway, 1963, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson set up the Warren Commission to investigate the assassination of U.S. President John F. Kennedy. Yeah, how convenient. So that way they wouldn't find you, Mr. LBJ, or whoever took him out, CIA, FBI, the Rothschilds, whatever, 1964, Roman Catholic Church in the U.S. replaced Latin with English. That's kind of sad. I would have rather had alongside than a replacement, because Latin is a beautiful language, and we need to make Latin great again. Mwah. 1965, Dale Cummings does 14,118 consecutive sit-ups. I'm sorry, my brain couldn't comprehend the number with the action, so I had a hard time trying to put them together. Wow, that's impressive. In 1966, we had the first NBA game at Oakland Coliseum Arena. The Warriors defeated the Bulls 108-101. That's close. While that was going on, SS Daniel J. Morrow sunk in a storm on Lake Huron, causing the deaths of 28 with one survivor. And that's actually worse than all hands down, because then you have the lone survivor syndrome. Why am I the one who was alive? Like, why me? Why everybody else? This poor person. Like, a lot of people with that syndrome end up by their own hand joining the others who went down with the ship, or however else they went down. Like, I don't know, really sad. Anyway, moving on up to 1970, England cricket batsman Colin Cowdrey reached 22 on day 3 of the drawn first test against Australia in Brisbane to become Test cricket's leading run scorer, past countryman Wally Hammond's world test record aggregate of 7,240 runs. Crikey, mate! Oh, ain't that a biscuit and a triple? 1971, the first pro golf championship at Walt Disney World. That is interesting. And I see something big is coming up here. 1972, co-founder of Atari, Nolan Bushnell, released Pong, the first commercially successful video game in Andy Capp's Tavern in Sunnyvale, California. Alright. So, yeah. If they're going around saying that video games cause violence, and I guess California causes violence, and I guess anything progressive causes violence, so how about that for a mentality right there? Well, I mean, that last statement is very true. We actually have evidence, quantifiable proof, that anything progressive causes destruction, devastation, violence, and death. So, but mostly peaceful, of course. 1974, Coco the Clowns, aka Nikolai Polyakov, special memorial service held at St. Paul's Cathedral, London, England. Alright, apparently a famous clown. I, too, wish to be known as a famous clown one day. 1975, Kilauea volcano erupted in Hawaii. Yep. And while that was going on, U.S. President Gerald Ford signed Education for All Handicapped Children Act, requiring states to provide free education for children with a disability. Well, what do you consider now a disability? Because, everybody's disabled now anymore. Everybody has Alzheimer's, Asperger's. Everybody has some form of mental deficiency, some form of something, wrong, minimally exceptional, cognitively deficient, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, words are powerful. 1978, UN observed International Day of Solidarity with Palestinian people, boycotted by U.S. and about 20 other people. That's 20 other countries. Why? Why are we boycotting the people who were there first? That's not cool. All right, because we are the goyim. We're the slaves. That's right. Okay, now it makes sense. 1987, New Orleans Saints win, assuring their first winning NFL season. All right. While that was happening, we also have Rangers' Bob Fossey became the second goalie to score a goal versus New York Islanders. It was later ruled that he should not be credited with the goal. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's interesting. So how many goalies have scored a goal, actually? Let's look that up here. How many NHL goalies have scored a goal? Can't be too many. 13. Oh, wow. That's an unlucky number right there. But that's a lot more than I thought. I thought it'd be in the single digits, not double. Goalkeeper can score by either shooting the puck into the net or being awarded the goal as the last player on his team to touch the puck when an opponent scored an own goal. Oh, okay, huh. Also, if anybody wants a list of goalkeeping or goal scoring in NHL goaltenders, goals for the goalie. There we go. All right. What else do we got here? We are now in 1990. We are in the last 30 years. Man, it's been 30 years since 1990. Holy crap. United Nations Security Council approved a U.S.-sponsored resolution authorizing the use of force in the Persian Gulf if Iraq does not withdraw from Kuwait by January 15th, 1991. Which they did not, which we backed up our words with actions. Yep. 1991 as well, the TV show Rock had a gay wedding episode, Can't Help Loving That Man. And what was this again about these people never having any representation? You know, of course they never talk about things like this, of course, because, you know, that goes against their status quo, against their agenda, you know? So, but yeah, no, you know, let's not forget Rock. Yeah, right here. 1994, Seoul, Korea celebrated the 600th anniversary of its founding, and I wonder why we didn't talk about the original founding. That would have been in 1300s, right? Hold on a second. No, I want today. There we go. It's not even on here. The only 1300 is this one. Huh. Okay. One would think that if you're talking about the anniversary of its founding, you talk about the founding of the dang thing to begin with. But I guess you can't expect everything from a source, especially if it's leftist. But 1995, U.S. President Bill Clinton lifted the ban on exports of oil from the Alaskan North Slope. The ban was imposed after the oil embargo by Arab oil producers in 1973. That took a while. Yeah. 2001, the UN Security Council unanimously approved a resolution extending the Oil for Food program in Iraq for another 6-month period. Okay, so trading their oil for food. All right. 2002, Concert for George, a benefit memorial to George Harrison held at the Royal Albert Hall, London, featured Eric Clapton, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, Joe Brown, Anushka Shankar, Billy Preston, and members of Monty Python. That's pretty big. Creek Alley, where are you? 2003, the first of Nelson Mandela's 46,664 AIDS benefit concerts were held at Greenpoint Stadium, Cape Town. Holy crap. 46,664. That's quite a bit. Oh, I didn't even know you can fit that many concerts. Like, you have to be doing like 1,000 concerts a day. Well, not 1,000, but still, that's a lot of concerts. 2007, a 7.4 magnitude earthquake occurred off the northern coast of Martinique. This affected the eastern Caribbean as far north as Puerto Rico and as south as Trinidad. Caribbean, you know, whatever, like, it's pronounced multiple ways. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato, you know. 2012, the UN voted to approve Palestine's status change from an observer to an observer state. What does that mean, and why is this the third time I'm hearing about Palestine probably getting screwed? General Assembly votes overwhelmingly to accord Palestine non-member observer state. Wow! 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 So not only does the UN come in and shoehorn Israel in there and then reduce Palestine's autonomy, but now they're not even a sovereign nation anymore in the eyes of, like, of the UN. Wow! 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 2016, former NFL players Darren Sharper sentenced to 20 years in prison for a series of struggle snuggles. Yeah, well, that would do it. 2017, Bosnian war criminal Slobodan Paralic committed self-deletion by poison in a court at The Hague after a 20-year prison term was read out. Was that the guy who was, drinking the shot? Let me look this in here. Slobodan Parajak. I think this is the guy. Let's look this up here. That is the guy. Yeah, here he is, right there. All right. Dang. 2018, tens of thousands of Indian farmers protested the agrarian crisis at Parliament in Delhi. All right. Let's look that up here really quick. What is going on? Let's look that up here. Tens of thousands of Indian farmers have marched to the Parliament in the capital, Delhi, to highlight the deepening agrarian crisis. They arrived on Thursday from across the country and held a rally demanding better crop prices, drought relief, and loan waivers. All right. So, Indian Farmers March. There we go. All right. I have quite a substantial amount of links here today. What? Oh, darn it. Okay. Anyway, 2019, K-pop stars Jung Joo Jung and Choi Jung Hoon sentenced to prison for gang struggle, snuggling unconscious fans, and disturbing footage of it. Jung. Yikes. Yeah, well. If K-pop stands for Korean pop, what is Chinese rap? Crap! 2019 as well, terrorist knife attack at Fishmongers Hall by London Bridge. Killed 2 and injured 3. Attacker who was previously in prison for 2012 terror offense was shot dead. Oh, finally. 2019 as well, wood fragment believed to be from Jesus' manger returned to Bethlehem after 1400 years by Pope Francis. Alright. That's pretty cool. 2020, Brandon and Harris announced the first all-female communications team for the White House. And since then, we have been getting nothing but excuses and bullshit, like from an abusive wife. Yeah. So, we members of, or we citizens of the United States of America, are in an abusive relationship with our government. So, yep. And now I understand. 2021, British socialite and former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, found guilty of sex trafficking in a federal court in Manhattan. Yikes. Probably, oh yeah, that's Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, right there. 2022 as well, for the first time, fewer than half of the people of England and Wales call themselves Christians, according to the 2021 census. You're being taken over, guys. You know, your acceptance and tolerance of others is allowing them to come in and steamroll over and take over. You know, like it's not enough that they have their own nation. No, we can't have ours. So yeah. 2022, Malawi began a historic campaign against malaria by vaccinating children under 5 using the RTSS vaccine, thought to provide 30% protection. I don't know about that, especially with certain akin things of other things that are going on around the same time. So, 2022, Singapore's parliament repealed British-era Section 377A, decriminalizing this, but introduces amendments to protect current definition of marriage. All right. I think that's okay. I'm not sure the semantics about what's going on about this, but it seems to me like they're trying to meet everybody at the middle here. And last but not least, in 2022, just last year, 3 stowaways rescued by Spanish Coast Guard after 11 days at sea, balancing on a ship's rudder from Nigeria to the Canary Islands. Holy cats, bro. Like, balancing on a ship's rudder. I gotta see this. Give me some images. They were standing on it. Oh, wow. So that's what they were doing. Wow. Wow, that's... in 11 days just sitting right there. Oh, so they were stowaways. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. So they weren't shipwrecked or anything. They were stowing away on the rudder. Huh. Wow. Okay. Huh. That's... I mean, like, you know, some people climb in the wheel well of an airplane, so... But anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar of the description below for any links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of pets, oh yeah, we are also on Rumble and BitChute. We're not just on Odyssey, we're not just on YouTube here or on Rumble. We're on BitChute, we're on Odyssey, although we only use Odyssey for select videos because of their internal crypto system, which dictates how much we can upload. Anyway, We also, check out our link tree, and all that stuff. Anyway, for your notes of Past Minutes Daily, we stream almost every day at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and of course, you are you. Until you catch us next time, until that is, whenever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every